The water monk!
Oh my heavens.
Can't touch that!
Well, hi there. If you've been following this channel for very long, then you probably already know that today is not a very good day. A few years ago, my son Owen brought this book home from the school library. I tried to read it with him, but it was the worst book I had ever read in my entire life. I refused to finish it. But once I learned that this garbage is hugely popular with kids and is being marketed not as ridiculous fiction written by someone with no knowledge of animals and very limited access to Google, but rather as non-fiction educational content, I had to find out more. So I purchased this book and one more and reviewed them, thinking that my nightmare would end there. But it didn't, because there were 4 more. One possibly even worse than the ultimate ocean rumble, though that's difficult to believe. I mean, it can't be. How could that even be possible? But some people, who I thought were my friends, gifted me all of the rest. So I reviewed them all. But in the midst of this truly punishing endeavor, Jerry Epaulette, the author of these monstrosities, decided to release another. This one, the ultimate small shark rumble. And my so-called friends decided that I needed this horror in my life as well. But I am a little bit curious about this book. Not only do I love sharks, and I really love sharks, but this book came out after we reviewed the first 2 books. It is possible that Jerry had received some of our feedback before he penned this one. It's possible that it could be better. I mean, it couldn't really be worse. And these are some really interesting sharks on the cover. It looks like we have a frilled shark, which is a great option for your favorite shark if you don't want to admit that the great white is the coolest one and you want something truly bizarre. Also, it has a bonnethead, a cookie cutter shark, and what looks like a dogfish, which is probably the least exceptional in the bunch, but a really cool little shark, and one I would consider keeping in a future iteration of Clint's Reptile Room. These are some rad sharks that most people don't really know anything about. And given that Shark Week is about to start, but hasn't really been what it used to be for a very long time, I figure we might be able to teach you more about sharks in this one video than you'd learn in all of Shark Week. Even if Jerry doesn't do us any favors. But maybe he got the message and upped his total research to an amount of time in excess of 10 minutes. We'll just have to see. Just as I look at this a little bit more carefully, I think this shark that I thought was a dogfish, that might actually be a crocodile shark, which is a stinking rad shark and a close relative of the great white. So that would make it just 4 absolutely amazing sharks on the cover. So let's do this thing. All right. The ultimate small shark rumble. Round 1. Dwarf lantern shark versus cookie cutter shark. We're tired of reading about big, scary sharks. What about small sharks? We can be ferocious too. They absolutely can. Welcome to the ultimate small shark rumble. 16 small sharks will meet in a bracketed battle. If a shark loses, it's out of the competition. Name fact, it is called a lantern shark because it lights up. True. Like all lantern sharks, they have a number of light-emitting photophores, and they're also tiny. Maybe the smallest of all sharks. They top out at like 8 inches long. The dwarf lantern shark, the smallest shark in the world, is only 8 inches long. It lives in the deep, dark ocean and glows in the dark. This might be research. I'll also add that they lack an anal fin, which is just one of the normal fins that sharks have. As much as Jerry doesn't always do his homework, Rob Bolster seems to do a pretty killer job, though I think he mostly traces photos. I mean, many of the images are still photos, which is fine, but you can really see the difference in the ultimate dinosaur rumble when he didn't have photos to trace. But anyway, the visuals in these books are always pretty good quality. Though this image does make the shark look transparent, and they're actually dark in color, not clear. But anyway. The cookie cutter shark cuts cookie-shaped chunks out of fish and sea mammals. The cookie cutter shark is only about 18 inches long. This is all pretty accurate, though they do get a bit bigger than that. Did you know the whale shark is the largest shark and the largest fish in the world? That's true depending on how you define fish. I mean, a blue whale is more closely related to a trout than a trout is to a whale shark. So if a trout and a whale shark are both fish, then from a phylogenetic standpoint, so are blue whales. And they are considerably larger than whale sharks. But from the standpoint where tetrapods are arbitrarily excluded from the fish, then whale sharks are the largest. A size fact. This is a book about small sharks, so no more big facts allowed. Okie dokie. I guess we'll just focus on arbitrary tidbits from here. But I don't have much of a problem with this page. The cookie cutter, which is also bioluminescent and is bigger even than reported here, should definitely win this. Not only do they bite chunks out of larger animals, but they also eat smaller animals in their entirety. These are such rad little sharks. They hover in the water column, and part of their body is conspicuous and looks like a tiny fish. The rest of it is camouflaged, even using light emission to conceal their body. And when larger animals come to eat the tiny fish they thought were approaching, the cookie cutter sucks on with its suctorial lips and then bites a perfect little chunk out of it with its proportionally enormous triangular lower teeth, earning it the name cookie cutter, though I think Satan's ice cream scoop might be a better name for them. If I had to pick a shark to be bitten by, I might pick a dwarf lantern shark. I would not pick a cookie cutter shark. In fact, if I had to be bitten by a 22-inch shark, a cookie cutter would probably be my last choice. But as long as cookie cutter wins this first match, I will continue to have hope for old Jerry. The cookie cutter swims over to the dwarf lantern shark and bites a round cookie-shaped hole. That wasn't nice, cookie cutter shark. Yeah, that's not good. Tooth fact. When a cookie cutter shark loses a tooth, it replaces its whole row of teeth at once. I don't know for sure that that's true, though, given the way that their teeth form like a perfect line to make that ice cream scoop of death. It doesn't surprise me too much. I mostly wonder if that is in response to losing the tooth, as he suggests, or if it's just because the whole row is typically replaced at the same time with some regularity, and this just happens whether or not a tooth has been lost. I don't really know. The cookie cutter shark bites the dwarf lantern shark again. The dwarf lantern shark is in trouble. Cookie cutter shark wins. Trouble, maybe, is an understatement. It seems like at this point he's probably at least halfway eaten, but reasonable outcome. Okay, spiny dogfish shark versus angel shark. I'll be honest, I think one of the most famous videos of an angel shark is one eating a spiny dogfish. I could be wrong about that. You don't see the other shark for very long because angel sharks work fast. They are the gaboon vipers of the shark world. But anyway, the spiny dogfish shark has 2 barbs on its back, one on each dorsal fin. These sharks travel in huge numbers. Let's just call it a dogfish. That's fair, though the dogfish family does include more than 100 species. This one, just for example, looks like a photo. Remember what I was saying about photos? There's nothing wrong with that. It just took a few books for me to notice that not all of the drawings are drawings. But this one has spines in front of both dorsal fins, and it has no anal fin. So this is likely a true spiny dogfish. These white spots are also a pretty dead giveaway. And those spines are probably its best chance of winning this round. This shark is even mildly venomous, and we know how much Jerry loves venom, if he knows about it. Centipede. Definition. A dorsal fin is a tall triangular fin on the back of a fish or whale. That's fair, though I don't think they need to be triangular. The angel shark has a flat head. Its eyes are on top, and it looks like it has angel wings. The shark could be mistaken for a ray. It could be. That's very true. The fact that its gills are on top and not the bottom of the animal, though, is a dead giveaway that it's not a ray. Fact. A tail fin is also called a caudal fin. Very true. No bones. Sharks and rays are related. Neither fish has bones. Their skeletons are made of cartilage, which is the same kind of material in your nose and ears. Seems like kind of a big fact to me, but who am I to judge? Okay, so who's going to win? I'll start by saying that there is no way that a spiny dogfish would see an adult angel shark as potential prey. Spiny dogfish are very long-lived, but they only get to be like 2.5 feet long. Angel sharks, depending on the species, get to be more than 7 feet long and are often buried in sediments, making themselves nearly invisible. Of course, the Ampullae de Lorenzini may still detect them, but I have seen them ambush many unsuspecting little sharks in the past, seemingly undetected. So this battle should go that the dogfish is swimming around when, BAM! Out of nowhere, a comparatively gigantic shark bursts out of the sand and engulfs the little shark in less than the blink of an eye. But I'm really not sure that that will be the end of the battle, because I have seen horned sharks escape from the jaws of angel sharks before. It's likely that this little shark will arch its back and use the venom-injecting spines on its dorsal fins on the inside of the mouth of the angel shark, at which point the angel shark is likely to say, ouch, and eject the prickly little morsel. At which point the dogfish will swim off and the angel shark will have a hearty mouth. So maybe the dogfish survives with both being a little worse for wear. And of course maybe it just gets eaten. But there's no world where the dogfish kills the angel shark using any sort of offensive weapon. So my money would be on the angel shark, or a bit of a draw, but who knows what Jerry will do if he finds out that the dogfish has venom. The angel shark hides in the sand, its favorite place. I really appreciate that it doesn't tell you the winner on the top of the page now. I wanted to get to that last. It stirs up a few clouds of sand to confuse tasty fish, crabs, and lobsters that may be swimming by. I mean, okay. It really does that to bury itself, not to confuse prey with sand clouds, but whatever. Collective noun. A large group of fish is called a school. That's true. And a large group of fishes is called a shoal. The difference between fish and fishes, as well as school versus shoal, is whether or not all of them are the same species. The dogfish isn't fooled by the swirling sand, because they don't do that. It swims over and bites the angel shark. The chase is on. The larger dogfish keeps on biting the angel shark. Say your prayers, angel shark. I mean, I guess it could be a baby angel shark. There are a few species that are smaller than a dogfish, but not most. Many of them, like I said before, are way bigger. I feel like this needed to be mentioned somewhere. I guess this is the small shark rumble. From now on, I guess I'll assume that he's talking about the smallest and not the largest of a group if he doesn't specify. Though the smallest angel shark really looks pretty much nothing like this one. So it can't exactly be the smallest one either. It's just, this is, I guess, is a fairly small shark rumble. But I'm really starting to think that he actually thinks that angel sharks kick up sand to confuse prey and doesn't know that they bury themselves. Spiny dogfish shark wins. Okay, I mean, this is probably not impossible. I needed to think small, but not too small. Okay. Bonnethead shark versus zebra shark. I love bonnetheads. While I think they might be the least cool looking of all hammerheads are amazing. And these are the smallest ones. And today, I got on my hammer shark hammer bands. No big deal. But what probably doesn't bode well for them here is that zebra sharks are much larger. But they do have pretty small mouths. So let's see what they have to say. The bonnethead shark is a small cousin to the great hammerhead shark. The bonnethead is also called a shovelhead. Would you rather be known as a hammerhead or a shovelhead? That's a tough question. Fact. Sharks have an up and down vertical tail. That's true. Like, I think pretty much all non-tetrapod fishes with tails. And most tailed tetrapods as well. To my knowledge, it is only the mammals that have, as a result of the fact that mammals have their limbs under their bodies, and thus have up and down spinal flexion, evolved horizontal tail flukes in multiple different lineages that have returned to a predominantly marine or aquatic existence. Tail. Dolphins have horizontal tails. They're one of them. An adult zebra shark has spots like a leopard, but is called a zebra shark because it has stripes when it's young. That's true. Most of them that you see in aquaria are adults, and so that name is really odd to most people. I think some research was done, which is neat. Swimming fact. Most fish can swim forward or backward or stay in one place. A shark can only swim forward. I don't really know about that. Let's put it this way. Bony fishes have lungs. In many of the teleost fishes, that lung is modified into a swim bladder, which allows those fishes, in many cases, to maintain neutral buoyancy at multiple water depths. This means that they can be motionless and not sink or float, but just maintain their position in the water column. If you're neutrally buoyant, you can stay in place, swim forward or even backward a little bit, and it'll be pretty easy. Sharks do not have any sort of a lung, and thus they have no swim bladder. They have a large fatty liver that makes them sink less rapidly than they otherwise would, but they're more dense than water. A few sharks swallow air into their stomachs, and that allows them to maintain neutral or near neutral buoyancy. Those sharks can stay in one place, swim forward or backwards. So just right there is an exception to this rule. But the reality is that if most sharks stop swimming forwards, they lose the lift that they generate with their pectoral fins and they begin to sink. Thus, it would be difficult for most sharks to transition from forward swimming to backward swimming without sinking considerably, and they likely cannot stay in one place unless they're on the bottom. Some sharks are obligate ram ventilators, so they must keep swimming to obtain enough oxygen to remain alive. But others, like the angel shark that we just saw, can clearly lay in one place on the bottom for a long time. They can even bring water in through their spiracle, a little hole behind their eye, so they can respire even if their mouth is buried in the sediment. I'm confident that they can not only stay in one place on the bottom, but can probably back up to some degree as well. So I would say that this swimming fact only applies to obligate ram ventilators like the great white shark that we just discussed a couple of weeks ago. But I need to pick a winner. So bonnetheads top out at under 5 feet long, with most being quite a bit smaller than that. There is a possibility that you could see them at Clint's Reptile Room someday in the future. Though I've only seen them on display in the Bahamas, and I don't know why they aren't more common in US aquariums. Zebra sharks get to be almost 8 feet long, though much of that is just the upper lobe of the caudal fin, and they have rather small mouths for their size, as you can see here. This is a female bonnethead, as it not only lacks claspers, but also has the head shape of a female, as they're quite dimorphic. And females in sharks tend to be the big ones. I guess I'm already forgetting about what we learned last round. This zebra shark is clearly an adult, as it has the spotted adult pattern. Zebra sharks feed primarily on shelled mollusks and crustaceans that they suck up with their powerful suction jaws, so they probably wouldn't see a bonnet shark as a prey source. And while most hammerheads feed largely on other cartilaginous fishes, including other sharks, bonnetheads really don't, hence the highly reduced hammer called a cephalofoil, typical of the group. They eat a lot of crustaceans and mollusks, though they will also eat other fish. So I would say that the bonnethead is more likely to take a shot at the much larger zebra shark than the other way around, at least as a predation event, but I would still consider this to be highly unlikely. They should pretty much ignore one another, though I think the zebra shark, due to its more impressive size, may attempt to run off the smaller bonnethead. So I predict that Jerry will pick the bonnethead, but in real life I doubt that any sort of aggressive interaction would happen between these two sharks. Yay, no winner yet. The zebra shark is less aggressive and no match for the shifty bonnethead. The zebra shark tries to attack the bonnethead, but the bonnethead swings around and gets a good bite of the zebra shark. None of that would happen. And why are they the same size? Skin fact. Sharks have rough skin. Shark skin has teeth called denticles. More accurately, shark teeth are likely modified denticles. So sharks have scales for teeth, not teeth for scales. Bonnethead wins. Wrong, but I called it. The bonnethead swims on to the second round. Its great hammerhead cousins must be present. Now that is a shark that would eat a zebra shark. Alright, cat shark versus wobbegong shark. Wobbegong. It's not going to be close. Cat sharks swim in shallow coastal waters as well as deep waters and pose no threat to people. Uh-oh, scientists say cat sharks are related to great white sharks. Do they say that? They are carchariniform sharks, which means that they're more closely related to tiger sharks and hammerheads than they are to great whites. That whole group are the closest relatives to the lamniform sharks, which includes the great whites, but they're no closer than was the bonnethead, so I'm not sure why that fact belongs here. And I'm pretty sure that they had a carchariniform shark beat the great white shark in the absurd Ultimate Shark Rumble, so why not mention its closer and allegedly tougher relative instead of bringing up great whites? Lots of cats. There are more than 100 different species of cat sharks. That's true, though they aren't all that closely related to one another. This one, based on the stripes, looks to be a pajama shark. At least that's the most similar looking shark that I know of. I obviously could make a few 10 animals I didn't know existed videos just about cat sharks, but pajama sharks, also known as striped cat sharks, are right around a meter long. It is one of those sharks that can lay on the bottom and likely move backward, as are wobbegongs. This small wobbegong shark, thank you for specifying, there are several species of wobbegong. Before today, I would have assumed the largest one, so thank you for specifying. This small wobbegong shark is in a group of sharks called carpet sharks. They camouflage themselves to look like the seafloor. Wobbegongs prefer to lie motionless in shallow water. They eat small fish that swim by. This is all true, though I wouldn't say that they camouflage themselves. They aren't like decorator crabs that camouflage themselves. They just look like the seafloor, and they've got all sorts of cool fringes and things to disguise their outline. I love these sharks so much. Attack fact. A shark that hunts by waiting for prey to swim by is called an ambush predator. That's true. Definition. An ambush is a surprise attack. Boy, they are keeping their promises about no more big facts, aren't they? But that is true. A big wobbegong would happily snap up a defenseless little cat shark. But this is apparently not a big wobbegong. So the question is, how small do they get? And I'm actually going to take a moment to try to figure out which wobbegong this one is. Let's see. Okay, so after spending a few minutes looking at wobbegongs, this one is pretty clearly a tasseled wobbegong. If you want a phylogeny of wobbegongs in the future, let me know. I do adore them, and there are only about a dozen species. But unfortunately, the tasseled wobbegong is far from the smallest. But the pattern, and particularly those tasseled fringes, don't leave us with any other options. Though Rob has drawn the wrong shark before. So Jerry might have meant a different one, but this is the one he got. And since Rob probably spends many orders of magnitude more time on these books than Jerry does, I'm going with Rob here. So this is a bigger shark than a striped cat shark, nearly 2 meters long. These guys certainly eat sharks like cat sharks on the regular. I know this one is supposed to be smaller, so maybe it's a male, but that shouldn't change the math enough to give this round to the cat shark. Maybe it's supposed to be a juvenile, but I'll tell you, the question of 100 men versus a gorilla is a lot less interesting if we're talking about a baby gorilla. More sad and way less interesting. And by the way, I will be shocked if a discussion about this controversy is not included in this week's Patreon Extras video, so be sure to check that out if you're interested in my thoughts. The cat shark swims over the wobbegong. The two sharks take little bites out of each other. A nip here, a nip there. Then the cat shark takes a giant bite. That would never happen. Crunch. Yeah, it looks like, I guess Rob got the day off. Goofy fact. Cat sharks do not meow, but they have cat-like eyes. What a fact. I guess Jerry got the day off too. And, yeah, Google gets every day off. Cat shark wins. Poor baby gorilla. Book fact. Should the author write a book called Cat Shark vs. Dogfish, or is that a silly idea? This author should not write any books. Though he did write a book called Blue Whale vs. Mosquito, which I could review pretty soon if you want to see what that's all about. I bought this one myself. I have never reviewed or read any of his normal 2-animal books before, but this might be a place to start. So anyway, let me know. But I feel like I'm becoming disappointed in this book sooner than normal. They aren't getting better, are they? Alright. Blacknose shark versus nurse shark. I'll be honest, a blacknose shark is a new one for me. So I'm going to take a moment to familiarize myself with them before I go on. Okay, This is really cool. So this is another carcharoniform shark, which I suppose means that we better watch out because it is related to great whites, though not nearly as closely related to them as it is to tiger sharks, bonnetheads, or pajama sharks. But still. Huh, Jerry? They're over a meter long and eat mostly cephalopods and smaller fishes, and are not uncommonly eaten by other sharks. And it's honestly a great looking shark. A very nearly perfect shark shape with a distinctive black nose. And they live in the warmer parts of the Atlantic Ocean of the Americas. I really like this shark. But nurse sharks get to be over 10 feet long. So let's see what Jerry has to say. Do not confuse blacknose sharks with a black tip shark. The black tip shark has its black mark on the top of its dorsal fin. We can only wonder why either shark has these marks. This is almost as beautiful of a shark as a black tip. Learning about this shark almost makes it worth reading this book. I'm so happy about this. Oxygen fact. Most sharks take in oxygen while swimming. I'd say all. Water flows through their gills. Okay, so again, I would say that all sharks take in oxygen while swimming, but some can only do it well enough to stay alive while they're swimming. Others can do it while they're laying on the bottom. Scientists once thought that every shark had to keep swimming to survive. Then, researchers noticed that nurse sharks could lie still. How do nurse sharks breathe without moving? They have spiracles, which blow seawater across their gills. That discovery was about the lowest hanging fruit ever. Did you notice that shark just lays on the bottom? No. And nobody else had ever noticed that either. This was probably discovered the first time anybody ever saw a nurse shark. And they're clearly not the only ones. I think this might be more of a description of Jerry's history of learning about shark respiration than that of scientists. And a spiracle helps more with situations where your mouth is in the substrate than with the need for ram ventilation. Nurse sharks have just tiny little spiracles. Definition: spiracles are breathing holes. Ants also have spiracles. Yes, they do, though they're very different. These are definitely not big facts, though. So, keeping their promises. So, nurse sharks are way bigger, but they have relatively small mouths with little teeth. They usually eat smaller prey, which they vacuum in with extremely powerful suction jaws. Though that can include cartilaginous fishes like rays, so a small shark could end up being eaten at least from time to time. I would say that there is a scenario where a blacknose shark steals some food from a nurse shark, and maybe bites one a time or two. And there is also a scenario where a whole blacknose gets eaten by a nurse shark all at once in a bite, spit out, and then thrashed to death, tearing it to pieces before consuming it in its entirety. So I'm going to go with the nurse shark, but I would bet that Jerry goes with the blacknose. The quick blacknose shark swims over to the sluggish nurse shark and picks a fight. The blacknose sinks its sharp teeth into the nurse shark. Ouch! We all know what that means. Color fact. Sharks blend in with the color of the ocean when you look down on them. That's true, and they're not only counter-shaded, but I have recently witnessed color changeability in great whites. White belly fact. Most sharks have a white belly. If you scuba dive and look up, the water's surface appears to be white. Sharks are camouflaged when they swim above you. And that's the counter-shading that I was just talking about. Blacknose shark wins. I don't think Jerry knows how big nurse sharks are. They are notoriously inoffensive sharks, but they're certainly not small sharks, so they probably didn't even belong in this competition. But I think if Jerry knew that, this might have gone a different way. Today's lesson: don't mess with a speedy shark. Unless you're sucking it into your mouth and then ripping it to shreds. But I am happy to see more blacknose in this book. Thank you for teaching me about them, Jerry. Okay, spinner shark versus frilled shark. All right, this is another carcharoniform shark. You know what that means. But this is a pair of stinking rad sharks, though neither of them are all that small. Spinners, which I think are around 10 feet long, and frilled sharks, which is the one that's going to lose here, they're almost 7 feet. The spinner shark has a unique way of catching prey. It jumps in the air, spins around, and splashes back into the ocean. Jump, spin, splash. Jump, spin, splash. It's a great show. People love to watch this behavior. That has nothing to do with catching prey. I'm really not sure how that would work unless the prey was in the air. They do end up spinning in the air sometimes, but jump, spin, splash is not how they hunt. They swim fast enough through schools of fish, spinning and biting the whole time, and at times their momentum carries them into the air. But that isn't the point of any of it. Jump fact. When a sea creature jumps into the air, it's called breaching. Indeed. Meet the frilled shark. This bizarre shark is shaped like an eel. It has gills on the outside of its body and has teeth shaped like rows of corn. Its body is not sleek and smooth like those of most sharks. Its face looks like the head of a snake. Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. It is shaped like an eel, that's true. And the gills do protrude out of the gill slits, hence the name, but the gills are not wholly outside. Their teeth are not shaped like rows of corn. They're shaped like the head of a trident. They have 3 cusps, specifically, technically I think it's called a cusp and 2 cusplets. But the teeth are arranged in distinct spaced rows, like a cornfield. And the head does remind me of that of a file snake or a sunbeam snake. Fish science. Scientists who study fish are called ichthyologists. Thanks, Jerry. So I already said that the spinner would win. This is because they are bigger and faster, and if they encountered one another, it would likely be an unwell frilled shark that has ungracefully and at extraordinarily slow speed wandered into the shallows. That said, despite the fact that spinner sharks hunt things like tuna, they don't have teeth for taking bites out of things. They usually have to hunt food that is much smaller than themselves. Frilled sharks, on the other hand, have adaptations like those of gulper eels for eating shockingly large prey. So if a smaller spinner shark made its way into the depths, this battle could likely go completely the other way. No one wants to get bitten by a frilled shark. Its teeth are wicked scary, or should we say, frightening. I remain very happy with them not declaring the winner at the top of the page. The 2 sharks approach each other. The spinner shark breaches, spins around, and splashes down close to the frilled shark. They don't do that. That's not how it works. But it does mean that this fight is happening in the shallows. Dental fact. When a shark loses a tooth, a new one takes its place. During its lifetime, a shark could grow thousands of new teeth. That's true. As you can see from this shark jaw, they're always kind of in a state of replacing teeth. It's like a conveyor belt. They just start on the inside and they're just wheeling their way out all of the time. So I guess you can say when a shark loses a tooth, a new one takes its place. In fact, sometimes they probably end up losing the teeth because a new one has arrived to take its place. Very cool, though. The frilled shark is unfazed. It puts its sharp teeth into the spinner shark. The frilled shark hangs on and doesn't let go. Eventually, the bleeding spinner shark gives up. That made no sense. Frilled shark wins. This is worse than normal. Crocodile shark versus Epaulette shark. Okay, so for starters, unless this fight happens on the beach, the crocodile shark should win. And given that the crocodile shark is a lamniform shark, if its relationship to great whites isn't mentioned, there should be consequences. Okay. The crocodile shark got its name from the way it snaps its powerful jaw. Yikes! The front teeth are shaped like nails or spikes. The crocodile shark is found in warm waters all over the world. That's all true. The teeth on the side, for the record, are more blade-like in shape, for shearing things off. Family fact. The crocodile shark is scientifically classified in a group called mackerel sharks. That's actually an order, not a family fact. But yes, they are mackerel sharks. Do you know what else is a mackerel shark? We do have a video about every species in the order, just in case you need a hand with that one, Jerry. The Epaulette shark has what looks like a giant fake eyeball on each side of its body. It's another shark we don't hear much about. If you looked in its stomach, you might see it's filled with crabs and sea worms. Though we do have a video about them specifically. They're so rad. And they climb around on land. Let's see. Walking fact. The Epaulette shark is also known as the walking shark. It uses its side fins to walk or creep along the ocean floor. An Epaulette shark can also walk on land for a short time. That sounds like research. Definition. An epaulette is a shoulder ornament on a military uniform. True. Alright, so both of these sharks are about the same size. They're both about a meter. And the epaulette shark only stands a chance in a tide pool or on the beach. The epaulette shark is no match for the crocodile shark in its long front teeth. The epaulette shark could briefly escape by walking on land, but eventually would have to return to the ocean. And the crocodile shark would definitely not just hang around waiting for it to come back, so that might work pretty well, though they don't walk on land to escape predators as much as to escape oxygen-poor tide pools. Fish fact. Fish found in warm waters around the world are called circumtropical fish. Seems like an appropriate term. Eye fact. Crocodile sharks have huge eyes. Fact. The crocodile shark is not fooled by the fake eyes. It battles the epaulette shark. Bite, bite, crunch, crunch, it's all over. Crocodile shark wins. Well, this one was a no-brainer. But looking over at the next page, one of these isn't even a shark. Balloon shark versus ghost shark. So balloon sharks are pretty normally sized cat sharks that can inflate themselves by swallowing water or air like pufferfish. But ghost sharks, which I would call a chimera, as they're not sharks, are not sharks at all. In fact, it would be more appropriate to put any ray in this book than a chimera. They are cartilaginous fishes, like sharks and rays, but they're more distantly related to sharks than are rays. And if that isn't mentioned, I reckon that's just because Jerry does not know that they aren't sharks. And yes, just for the record, balloon sharks are just as related to great whites as are pajama sharks. So let's hope he mentions that as well. Since he didn't mention that with the crocodile shark, which actually is very closely related to a great white. The balloon shark often protects itself by filling itself up with water. This makes the shark more difficult to grab. It is a clever way to fend off a predator. Yep. Blow fact. Jerry? Nobody at Scholastic was like, hey, let's not call it a blow fact. That never came up. There were no better titles than blow fact? Blow fact. Let's read the blow fact. Blow fact. Blowfish and pufferfish also blow themselves up briefly to appear larger. And a bigger fish is harder to swallow. Yeah. How about puffer fact? Or inflation fact? Yeah, gape limited predator avoidance fact. Nope. Going with blow fact. Choices, Jerry. You make choices. I don't understand your choices. A ghost shark is an ancient fish. It swims more with its side fins than with its tail. Modern sharks swim with their tails and steer with their side fins. Not just modern sharks, but sharks. This isn't a shark, Jerry. And did you know a shark scientist is called a shark biologist? This is about as bad as when I found out that the Spanish word for gel is el gel. It's really pronounced el gel, but it still made me laugh. Thanks for all the facts, Jerry. Ghostly name fact. A ghost shark is also called a ratfish or a rabbitfish. I did know that. Did you know that a ghost shark is not actually a shark? That's the question I'd like to see answered, Jerry. Okay, but who would win between a shark and a not shark? Well, chimeras can be larger, depending on the species, but they don't really eat anything like sharks. And balloon sharks do. So I'm going with the actual shark here. Which means that you don't have much time to tell us that you know that these aren't sharks, Jerry. So I'll hope for the best. The ghost shark swims over to the balloon shark. The ghost shark is hungry. Oops! What's that? All of a sudden the balloon shark is much bigger. Is this a trick? Okay, so it puffed. Another name. A ghost shark is also called a chimera. Didn't you already tell us that? No, okay. Yes, indeed. But do you know that it isn't a shark? The balloon shark attacks the ghost shark. The ghost shark's skinny tail isn't wide enough to help it escape in a hurry. The balloon shark gets a good chomp on the ghost shark. Uh-oh! The ghost shark is wounded. Balloon shark wins. I guess an injury was enough. On to the second round. There are only 8 sharks left. May the best shark win. My goodness. I feel like that round was worse than normal. Like, it seems like the first round, not usually that bad. Maybe not. But at least the second round will only be made up of actual sharks. No bowless sharks, no red-tailed sharks. None of those are going to sneak in. No guitar fish or a manta ray. Just sharks. Cookie cutter shark versus spiny dogfish shark. Many readers of this book want the cookie cutter shark to win. It has such a clever name. Does it? Non-smoking fact. Who's against smoking, but is okay with blow? Non-smoking fact. A cookie cutter shark is also called a cigar shark. Great. The little dogfish is a tough, rugged shark. Its skin feels like sandpaper, which is pretty universal among sharks. Spiky fact. Dogfish barbs look like cat claws. Do they, Jerry? Do they really? In what way? Because they're both pointy? If anything, they look more like snake fangs or something. Fun fact. In the British Isles, this type of shark is called a hound. Yes, hound shark is a common name for dogfish. I hate these books so much. Okay, so who would win? The cookie cutter. Since they do not engulf larger sharks whole, the venomous spines will do nothing, and feeding upon larger animals, including sharks, is what they do. So, cookie cutter. This battle is really not a fair fight. The cookie cutter shark is smaller than the dogfish. Yes, they're smaller than most of the things that they eat. Wham! The dogfish rams the cookie cutter. Then the dogfish opens its mouth and sinks its teeth into the cookie cutter. I mean, that could happen, but it's still stupid. It's not leatherback versus man-o-war stupid, but it's stupid. Fun fact, in millions of years, no shark has ever developed venomous fangs, as far as we know. But the spiny dogfish has something pretty similar. At least more similar than it is to, say, a cat's claw. Cutting a little cookie out of a dogfish side does not work this time. But it should have. Spiny dogfish shark wins. The dogfish is on its way to the small shark final four. Who cares? Bonnethead shark versus cat shark. Specifically, pajama shark. This isn't the only cat shark in this competition. Bonnetheads use their shovel-shaped heads to dig up and feed on small shrimp, crabs, and fish. Definitely to detect them. I don't believe they use their heads as a shovel. It's just shaped like a shovel, Jerry. Vegetarian fact. A bonnethead also eats eelgrass. It is rare for any shark to eat plants. Sharks prefer meat. This is true. It's more of an omnivore fact, but the kind of thing that requires some research. Jerry, I'm so proud of you. Scholastic, Rob Bolster, if you want to work on a project where we teach actual good information to children, have your people call my people. I'm sure we can work something out. The cat shark is another bottom feeder, but now it must face the bonnethead. There is no escaping. I mean, they could and probably would just ignore each other, but because it is bigger and neither of them is a cookie cutter, the bonnethead should win this easily. The bonnethead forgets about eating grass and other plants. It quickly swims over to the cat shark, wanting a meaty meal. The bonnethead has better vision than the cat shark. It sees the cat shark's every move. That is true about their vision. Though it might be the worst binocular vision of any hammerhead, the cephalofoil exists largely to improve their vision. The cat shark shows its teeth. That's not a thing sharks do. I think you're thinking of carnivorans. The cat shark shows its teeth, but the bonnethead is not impressed. The bonnethead bites the cat shark in the gills, which is easy to do, as their gills are not protected with an operculum, as they are in things like, chimeras, which are not sharks. Bonnethead wins. All right, Blacknose shark versus Frilled shark. The Frilled shark just defeated a much larger version of the Blacknose shark, so who knows what's going to happen. The Blacknose shark is hoping to get itself into the next round. It has to fight the ancient Frilled shark. Which shark has a more developed brain? Probably the sleek Blacknose shark. Just for the record, the frilled shark is no more ancient than the blacknose shark. It's just that the frilled sharks don't have any other close extant relatives. Did you know sharks do not get cancer? Did you know that they do get cancer, Jerry? Just at much lower rates than most other organisms, and that's because their mutation rates are so low. When you're basically perfectly adapted for your environment and that environment doesn't change very much, selection favors having low mutation rates, and sharks have super low mutation rates, and as a consequence have super low cancer rates, but not no cancer at all. Which shark can swim better? Probably the blacknose. Frilled sharks have lived on Earth for millions of years. It must be incredibly tough to survive that long. Their ancestors haven't been alive any longer than the ancestors of any other organisms alive today. Everything alive today is the descendant of a lineage that has never gone extinct since the dawn of life. And yes, most lineages have gone extinct. It is hard. Did you know there are more saltwater croc attacks worldwide every year than shark attacks? I didn't know that for sure, but it's not shocking at all. Saltwater crocs have a very large range and exist in many highly populated places where people regularly venture into the water, and sharks very rarely attack people, especially unprovoked. What a great matchup. Streamlined, modern-looking shark versus dinosaur-era, nasty-looking shark. Okay, so a frilled shark could definitely swallow a blacknose whole. But in the shallows, it's probably actively dying. But still, a frilled shark is going to be my prediction. The frilled shark catches the blacknose not paying attention. The frilled shark puts a massive bite on the blacknose. Its 300 teeth really hurt. It's a pretty good drawing, Rob. Other than here where the teeth in the back somehow pop around the shark. Beach fact. In many beaches around the world, it is common to find shark tooth fossils. That's true. I would love to do that one day. Frilled shark wins. Interesting that the pain of the teeth was mentioned, but not the part where the shark was swallowed whole. Crocodile shark versus balloon shark. Crocodile shark. They're like the same size, but have better weapons. Does the crocodile shark wish it had a different name to match its long teeth? Maybe rattlesnake shark, black mamba shark, or saber-toothed tiger shark. Saber-toothed tiger shark? This is the closest relative of the great white in this book, Jerry. It is much more closely related to great whites than it is to tiger sharks. And the one you made a big deal about, being closely related to great whites, is more closely related to a tiger shark. Jerry! Man, when you promised no big facts, I mean, you kept that promise. The balloon shark wants to win the contest. Not many people have heard of a balloon shark. This is a great opportunity for fame and fortune. I just thought they didn't want to get eaten. Think! What would a shark call itself if it could? Maybe a shark? I mean, it's a rad name. Or, looks scary but doesn't tend to bite humans and has a low reproductive rate, so everyone should be nice to them fish. Alright, well, let's see that balloon shark get eaten by the saber-toothed tiger shark. Okay, I think I get it now. But the teeth aren't that long. And mambas have very short fangs, Jerry. Gaboon viper shark is what you're looking for. Emerald tree boa shark. These are the sharks you're looking for. The crocodile shark shows off its teeth. They're long, pointed, and impressive. Yikes. Again, with the teeth showing. Their jaws protrude for suction feeding and to get past the long rostrum, not to show off their teeth like a wolf. The balloon shark blows itself up to appear larger. The crocodile shark slows down. Its pointed teeth are like needles. The fight is like popping a balloon. Well, that didn't work. Crocodile shark wins. And that does it. Only 4 sharks are left in the competition. Spiny dogfish shark, bonnethead shark, frilled shark, and crocodile shark. I honestly don't know which of these should win, so this should be interesting. I don't think there's an outcome at this point that can make me more disappointed with this book than I already am. So I don't think I have much to fear from these final battles. Small shark final 4. In many sports, the next round would be called the semifinals. There are only 3 matches left. Spiny dogfish shark versus bonnethead. There is nothing flimsy about the spiny dogfish shark. It's wall-to-wall muscle. It is tough from head to tail. I don't think he knows about the venom. It would win if he knew about the venom. He loves venom. It shouldn't win, but he would have it win. The bonnethead swims with confidence. It sees the dogfish. Neither shark has ever been considered dangerous to humans. Well, the bonnethead should win this one easily. So I guess I could be disappointed still. Hammerheads are great at eating sharks. Though this is the worst hammerhead at the job, it's also much larger. But not enough larger to get the whole dogfish in its mouth at once, so the spine shouldn't be an issue either. Oh, nope. Okay. I was wrong. I should never underestimate Jerry's ability to disappoint me. He's made it into an art form. Jerry. Jerry. What is wrong with you? These two sharks are about to be dangerous to each other. The dogfish swims over and bumps the bonnethead. Bump, bite, bump, bite. What is the bonnethead doing during all of this? And why do they look to be close to the same size? Bonnetheads are almost 5 feet long. Spiny dogfish are half that length. Though this is still a female, so good continuity, Rob. Did you know? Sharks often bump before they bite to see if something is worth eating. Yes, and most bites are just exploratory. They don't have anything better with which to explore the world than their mouths. The dogfish wears out the bonnethead. I guess it just got tired of doing nothing. Dogfish shark wins. I hate these books so much. Why are they so bad? It would take so much work to make them this bad. Is this the worst one ever? He might be just making these to upset me. Frilled shark versus crocodile shark. Crocodile shark is going to get swallowed whole. It's teeth versus teeth. So, both of these have teeth. Big, long, scary teeth versus hundreds of neatly arranged teeth. There's nothing pretty about these two sharks. Both sharks are scary looking. Yes, they are, which is its own form of beauty. If there was a crowd watching this contest, they would be chanting, "Shark, shark, fight," and "Fight, fight, shark." Wow. They would? Who? What? What is this? Scholastic. Call me. What is this? I cannot take this anymore. I've never wanted to quit one of these books this close to the end before. How does he do it? He's just trolling me. The crocodile shark swims over the frilled shark. Then it swims under the frilled shark. Crocodile shark swims towards the frilled shark. Then it swims away. Lots of swimming. The crocodile shark watches how the frilled shark reacts. Sees an opening. The crocodile shark sinks its teeth into the frilled shark. I guess this is more the frilled shark in the shallows that I expected all along. Crocodile shark wins. The shark with the long pointed teeth wins. On to the final goes the crocodile shark. Not the one with the long triple pointed teeth that could swallow the other shark whole. A 2-meter shark-eating shark killed by a 1-meter shark that is no more capable than the other 2 sharks eaten by the frilled shark already. Obvious. Let's end this. Championship small shark match. A spiny dogfish shark versus crocodile shark. How did we end up with those two? There's no reason why the spiny dogfish should be anywhere near this round. Uh-oh, the championship match is being played in cold water. In the ocean, there are warm water sharks and cold water sharks. The spiny dogfish shark is usually found in colder water. There's no reason why the spiny dogfish should be anywhere near this round. Shark tooth fact. Most sharks have long pointed teeth or triangle-shaped teeth. Some triangle-shaped teeth face to the left, some face to the right. What a fact. Everyone thinks the big-toothed crocodile shark will win. Big teeth, scary mouth, nice jaws. The crocodile shark is used to warmer waters. Yep, but something tells me that this water temperature thing is going to matter. Penguin versus Tyrannosaurus Rex. But oh! This one's being played at -80 Fahrenheit. I just hope one of them is eaten by a bird for no reason. But yes, spiny dogfish inhabit colder waters and crocodile sharks inhabit warmer waters. They basically have opposite ranges for this reason. The dogfish will win, but my money's on the dogfish being eaten by an orca, so maybe we'll get lucky. The crocodile shark intends to use its long teeth to chew up the dogfish. It attacks the dogfish, but the dogfish has barbs on its dorsal fins. Ouch. What an unfortunate bite. Could have bitten it anywhere. Bites it right on the spine. The cold water slows down the crocodile shark. The dogfish never slows down. And it keeps on fighting and fighting and fighting. Come on, Orca. Spiny Dogfish wins. Well, I'll be. This is one way the competition might have ended. No, it isn't. It just isn't. Write your own ending or think of a new version of an Ultimate Rumble book. I'm serious, Scholastic. Give me this franchise. Jerry invited me to do it. I'll even redo the existing titles so you can keep selling them without misinforming an entire generation. It is so much easier to educate an uneducated person than a miseducated person. I beg you, let's work something out. If not me, someone who knows something about animals. Or at least Google. But anyway, that's all of the Ultimate Rumbles that I have. I imagine that the last one will show up eventually. Let that be the last one. Please. I can't do this anymore. As always, like and subscribe. Or dislike. And we hope to see you real soon.
The water monk!
Oh my heavens.
Get that!
No. What the heck? Blue whale versus mosquito?
What?
What on earth? It's that mosquito's got like 5 seconds every 30 minutes.
Blue whale never even knew there was a fight.
Would you say that that shark is the cat's pajamas?
I knew you were going to say that. I was waiting for it.
I absolutely would. It's rubbing off on him.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay. You guys are tired enough not to be troubled by the blow fact.
Depending on...
There's no good kind.
Substance abuse versus sexual.
Yes.
There's no good kind. Not for children's book.
No.
Good.
Thanks a million, Jerry. Sure, that's the right title. Yeah, no, blow fact. Why would we not call it blow fact?
Now I need to have a conversation with my kids.
Yeah. Well, we'd have been redoing it. Anyway.
So we've got planes,
Trains
trains,
and automobiles.
We haven't had many
We had one.
issues.
I did have to wait for one automobile so far. But no spacecraft.
That's next.
Submarines, leaving us alone. Helicopters, not yet. And I'm assuming these 100 men are like naked. Because they've got...
You went straight to no clothes, huh?
Well, they... Is it called bath salts, that drug that people would take that would turn them into like hyper-aggressive
crazy.
zombies?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I think 100 men on bath salts defeat a gorilla on bath salts. And it would be a heinous thing to observe.
Okay.